Some of the best kept cutthroat secrets here in the West seem to coincide with backcountry drainages in the middle of bear country. Hiking in deep means keeping a keen eye on the horizon and a swift snap on your hook set.
There we go, that's a nice cut to start the morning.
Midsummer madness is in full force and the fish are looking up for those big bugs. This is a perfect day trip exploring the Idaho backcountry. This was it. Back on the blacktop for my first destination day trip here in Idaho. With my 9 to 5 taking up the majority of my week, I would still consider myself a weekend warrior, and that's more than fine because I've become quite good at screaming past dead towns on the inevitable race against the glow of the morning sun. It always makes me feel like a thief in the night, sneaking by the primed powder keg of tourist traffic here in the West, but I found driving in the dark is the best way to avoid this. And being the only car in the parking lot was the perfect omen I needed to kickstart my day. Now, because this particular access spot was a stone's throw away from the Idaho and Wyoming border, I was still well within the greater Yellowstone ecosystem. This means that this drainage behind me was undoubtedly full of great fishing, but the give and take nature of this part of the world is you have to take the good with the bad. Bad in this scenario means bears.
Okay, I guess we're not registering. Cool.
I white-knuckled my can of spray on the narrow parts of the trail and even let out more than a few hay bears with no shame. The hairpin turns made no effort to return my advances, which is always a relief, and I am more than fine with a quiet morning because a quiet morning means that it was a safe morning. The nesting eagles in the valley were the only critters that made their presence known as they majestically flew by. Their wingspan whispers were the only rhythmic break in the dew-covered silence, and I took their passing as a good sign. Now, I can't say that I believe in much, but I do my best to listen when the fish gods are talking. Eagles and osprey are always a welcome sight as I cast my lots, and I mean that literally and figuratively. Undisturbed morning dew and the hanging spider webs was my reminder that I was truly alone on this hike in. Even the quiet cabin in the valley below showed no sign of life, and that goes for two-legged critters and four-legged critters. I knew this feeling of solitude wouldn't last forever, so the smooth cadence of breath and boot helped maintain a hustled pace down the trail. The winds of this new adventure carried my sails for the better part of 4 miles before I found a worthy spot to stop and launch my campaign. Preemptive sunscreen was high on the priority list, followed swiftly by eager fingers ready to rig up the rods. My chores were only interrupted by the wildflower fields surrounding my line of sight. The grip of condensation, it pulled on their petals hard, but this ailment was just minutes away from being but a memory as the sun finally started to reach across the valley. The wild temperature swings at higher elevations can sometimes make for uncomfortable mornings, especially if you find yourself wet waiting like myself. The feet, it's true, they will eventually go numb, which makes for some manageable misery, at least until the sun gets strong and the air temps start to rise. And I will say, just because the air temps are cold, it won't stop most western fish from looking up to the surface for their breakfast. Point in case, I used my double dry setup to break the skunk at our very first run.
See ya.
I find that slinging subtle dries like ants makes for an irresistible offering to trout. Not only are ants fun to fish, but if you look around on your hike in, these are some of the only insects you see up and active this early in the morning. Bigger terrestrials require a bit more warmth to break their sluggish slumber before they can jump full force into the summer symphony. So don't be afraid to start your day with an ant. And even though these cutties weren't going to break any state records, the skunk was finally off and my confidence in this creek was rising like the sun at my back.
Ooh, that was a fish. Oh, that was a big fish. Oh, that was a big fish. Oh, he went after the hopper and I just whipped it. Oh, man. Oh, that hurts, man. That really hurts. That's a good fish. That's a good fish. Oh, it's a mountain whitefish. Nice. Big ol' whitey. Should have brought my creel for dinner. Damn. Let's give you a quick look at him. I'll send him back. It's another big whitey. Damn. You're fighting like chickens, man. That right there is why I like to carry 2 rods. Missed him on the dry, came in with the dry drop, and that was the ticket, man. Oh, he just popped off. There he goes. That's a good fish. There we go. Come on, baby. Nice with the reach. There we go. That's a nice cut to start the morning. That's a beautiful fish to start our morning adventure. Wow. Let's see this guy back.
As that fish returned to the wild place it calls home, I was quite upset to see sign of man's apathy this far in the backcountry. And to anyone out there watching, no matter where you are, try and leave the places you play better than when you hiked in. And stepping off my soapbox and back into the willows, things got thick. The creek was losing its serpentine wind, and I wasn't too interested in fishing the straightaways. Luckily, the trail paralleled the river and was well within eyeshot. It was time to double back and look for greener pastures.
That's a hole and a half right there. Holy sh**. Oh, we're gonna have to fish that.
Going down and around, it looked like a beaver had been quite busy at this bend, and unfortunately for these bold builders, a deep channel had cut through the right side and made for some ideal trout habitat, and I managed to pick off one fish towards the back of the run before I really started to hug the dam. My drift, it wasn't the best, but I needed to high stick up and over the riprap in order to make sure my rig was getting down sufficiently. 2 more cutties confirmed that my risk was in fact paying off, but the disturbance had undoubtedly alerted the rest of the fish to my prowling presence. So, yet again, it was time to pack up shop and scoot upstream. Now, from my years of observation, I've seen that each angler tends to have their own unique style or preference when it comes to fishing, and I'm a lousy fly angler at best, but I have the physical ability to cover a lot of water in a short amount of time. This is my niche. This ensures that I'm able to put my flies in front of a lot of fish in a given day, and no matter how sloppy my casting gets, I'm still able to find some active fish. And this may seem silly to think, but it's important to acknowledge your strengths and lean into them hard in order to offset those potential weaknesses. So, as the mile counter continued to tick up, my eyes would seek distractions from the beige of my boots. A wild mountain rose never fails to course my gaze and halt my pace. Their bright colors are a simple mountain memento that will forever remind me of my mother. And I must say, the grip of the mountain wildflowers was strong in the morning light, but as I hiked in, I had to do some capturing of my own. This was a big clue. Literally, the valley was loaded up with some tasty trout morsels.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
I cannot complain 1 second.
Yeah, it's nice today. Have you caught anything?
Yeah, quite a bit.
Good. Oh, good.
Yeah, doing well today.
Good. That is a good thing.
Yep. Y'all enjoy your hike.
Thanks.
So I'll catch you around. Well, there we go. That might be at least our longest one of the day. That's a nice fish. Whew. Well, and just like that, he clawed back and he's heading downstream. Now, when I did cast up in there, I had 2 go after my fly. He went after my bottom nymph, but I had 1 come up and suck my dry fly, so maybe I need to shoot the dry back in there. I don't know, man. This is fun. It's about mid-morning now. It's just after 10, and the sun is high. It's gonna be a warm one, but the fish, they don't seem to mind, man. Watch fish. That's a dandy right there. There we go, starting the morning out good. See ya, buddy.
The day was really starting to warm up, and I could see the bug life around me starting to frenzy. I needed to shed some layers and find some food. The early morning grind was starting to catch up with me, and the fuel tanks needed some attention. Call them what you want, but a cold Cliff Bar is the penny in my pocket needed to stave off the hunger pangs associated with long hikes and cold feet. But with this being no time to hunker down and get comfortable, the pace needed to continue on, and as I turned the next corner, I found myself weaving through a maze of beaver dams, and this has always been a prime time spot for big fish to hang out.
Yes! Did you see that? I had to let him wait for it. No! No! Oh, I can see him right there. Oh, that's a good fish. I spoke too soon. Whew. It's a wee bit chilly. Oh my gosh! I got the worst luck right now. Okay, maybe I can get this one to the hand here. So what I've been trying to say over these last few fish, well, I mean, the ones that I can actually catch, that is that there's a certain cadence to these cutthroat. So if you couldn't see, they came up and they bopped it. And it's almost like they're drowning it, they're just kissing it under. They aren't taking it whole hog. You know, like a splashy rainbow or a sipping brown, it's not the same. It's very, very slow. So I have to like sit there and be like, no, don't set the hook. Don't set the hook. Don't set the hook. Boom, when I know they have it. And, you know, of course, these last few couldn't quite get them to the hand, but that one right there is a perfect example of what I'm trying to talk about, at least. But what I did is I noticed that they weren't going after my small dry fly rig. So this is my Ant. It's a 7-footer. It's the leaf cutter. If you guys have been around, you know the freaking deal. And what I've actually done with this rod is I have it paired with a 4-weight creek line. And be it Rio, be it Scientific Angler, that's what I have on now because of a venture on. They're partnered with Scientific Angler, blah, 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 blah. But I've upsized. And on this glass, that 7-foot just, bow, it just bangs. It's really, really fun to have, you know, if you have an extra reel and you don't want to, I don't know, mess up your casting too much, because it's interesting. You got to really kind of get a cadence for it, kind of like our little dry fly munchers there. But anyway, what I did is I upsized. So I put on a big hopper, or chubby, and a hippie stomper. So 2 really, really big flies, because I noticed they were only coming up after our big bugs. And 1, 2, 3 right there. And I think, I don't know, this could be the pattern for the afternoon now that it's high. I mean, you can hear it. There is cicadas, grasshopper, I mean, any sort of terrestrial, it's hopping right now, so. Cool, that's cool. This is a really deep hole. Let's keep moving up it and see if we can't get some more. Okay, so I see one tailing right at the back end here. It looks like I might have spooked him a little bit, but I'm gonna see if the dry dropper kind of gets him to eat. Yes. That's sick. I mean, that's kind of exactly what you want right there. That was textbook, man. God, these are so beautiful. Now you just gotta love when a plan comes together. Now I'm gonna get back to the dry fly and see if we can't get some big boys to come up and shit. That's so sick. Yes. Well, these cutthroat are floppy boys, but hopefully you got a little look at him underwater there. His tail, man, it was mangled up. It looks like a otter literally just took a bite at the top of his tail. I mean, he was swimming fine, he was eating fine, but he was right on this left side. Didn't expect him to be there, but bopped it up in there, and he just, again, he slow sipped it. It's like he looked at it, thought, maybe I'll eat that, and then ate it. Gotta be patient, gotta calm those nerves.
Of course, much easier said than done in these kind of situations. I only managed to find one more trout in this run, but my consolation prize for some lazy double hauling was some interesting river treasures hidden in the willows.
Uh-oh, what do we have here? A little river treasure action. Come on. Always fun to find river treasures. This is definitely new. Some colored weight thingies, a barrel swivel, and nice chunk of worm and braid. Yeah, I don't know if trout are gonna be eating that, but somebody's throwing it, and now we can pack it out.
And not only could we pack out that weird rig, but as I started to walk upstream, I found some discarded shoe parts that needed to be taken out of the watershed as well. And for how remote this spot was supposed to be, I sure was finding a lot of discarded junk from past angling accidents.
It's a great fish. That is so awesome. They're wanting the big terrestrials, man. You want to go so bad, go. Get out of here, boy. It's hard to beat big bugs getting munched down by big fish. This was the right move. So this mid-morning into afternoon, I noticed I was getting a lot of looks on my dry dropper rig. So my big bug I'm using to hold up my entire nymphing rig. I got a lot of looks and a lot of hits on it. My little dry fly rig was not working. So this is the confirmation that, yeah, they want big bugs. And you can kind of see right under that log, I mean, it was textbook. He was, right where he should have been, and just came up and sipped it, man. But I don't know what's up with these fish. Maybe because it's so close to the trail, they're getting mishandled, but that one had a big chunk out of it too. The last one that we caught had a big chunk out of it. I don't know, maybe it's critters, but yeah, I'm not sure.
It was odd seeing so many fish with significant wounds somewhere on their body, and I tried not to think too much into it because at the next bend I saw another nice fish actively feeding towards the back of the pool.
Nice. Look at you, buddy. Now that is a much healthier fish. That's a nice specimen. Let's send it back to the drink. I just want the big bugs right now. This is awesome. I guess I didn't realize you could bait fish here. That's our second lost bundle we found today. Treasure, treasure, treasure. You could really tell this valley's heating up, both temp-wise and fishing-wise. A real quick stop to put on little bit more sunscreen. That's why if you see a weird white sheen, that's what that is. Good old zinc. But I make sure to always wash my hands because, you know, I don't know. I don't know what that does to a slime layer and if it would hurt a fish if I touch them. So better to be safe than sorry, and the palms aren't gonna get burned. But switched up to a stimmy. That's for my boy Nick. Shout out to you, brother. Hopefully the fish like it. So yeah, this is fun. Let's keep going.
With it now being well into midday, the trail seemed to be getting much more busy, and I heard multiple groups of dirt bikes riding along the trail, and as distracting as that was, I could walk upstream a bit easier knowing there shouldn't be any critters milling about in the valley ahead.
Well, this absolute stimmy muncher beauty goes out to my boy Nick. Shout out to you, man. The stimmies are hopping today. Woo! Yes, yes. That's a great fish. Look at you, dog. That's a fish right there. All right, well, he just flopped back. That was probably the best one of the day right there. Wow. Holy cow.
The unfortunate diminishing returns on sunscreen required a stream-side switch up and a tire, and I still had a lot of water to cover and a long hike back, so there's no point in getting burnt to a crisp along the way. And I find that the cutthroat in the west, they tend to increase their activity levels in accordance with the orientation of the sun. So as the sun started its downward trajectory, my bites and fish to the hand nearly doubled compared to my morning efforts. And I could be way out of line here because remember folks, I am not a guide. I'm just some guy. But with the warmer weather, the swarms of terrestrials coupled with the swirling afternoon winds create the perfect feeding opportunity for these high country cutthroat. So the wind was blowing and these fish were munching. I managed to mop up quite a few more fish the further up I pushed, but after the last fish of the day flopped back, my lust for fish had finally been overtaken by my apprehension for the long hike back down and out of this drainage.
Well, here we are again, far overextended. As always, it's true me form. It's kind of my thing to go way above and beyond what I originally planned. So I'm gonna kind of break the kit down, put the rods away, kind of put the boots away. I'm gonna slip my sandals on, and we're gonna try and fly out of here as best I can. I'm already a little tired coming into today, and then yeah, 8 miles, 9 miles. I think I'm way too far up. So yeah, time to conserve water and stay cool. So let's do this.
Time is a tricky thing. Balancing work, family, school, relationships, and whatever else the long list of life-related activities can hold, it can be tough. I've been fighting this weird push and pull of life responsibilities for a long time now, and it's helped me to appreciate these simple day trips. It is the perfect recalibration needed to untangle strained thoughts weighing down valuable mental bandwidth, and in my experience, there is no better time to work on those inner thoughts than casting an active trout or straining the body on a grueling hike. This day trip gave me the opportunity at so many amazing fish. I got to observe the flora and fauna of the greater Yellowstone ecosystem, and I stumbled out no worse for wear with a full sack of trash. It wasn't long, but I don't think I could have asked for much more on this day trip.
Well, howdy folks. If you're seeing this, then that means the video is over. And like always, I just have to say thank you so much. It's very strange as I'm standing in the middle of a mountain valley by myself talking to a black box to say thank you and like really mean it, but I do. It's wild to see how fast this channel is growing, how much engagement comes from this community. It's so awesome, and you know, I love hearing from you guys. So if you have any comments on this adventure, or maybe some adventures of your own, hit me up in the DMs, hit me up on the comment section, wherever it might be. I love talking to you guys. But folks, for real, the more you like and comment and share, as shilly as that sounds, it makes this algorithm machine move, and it pushes this channel, and I don't know, it just keeps growing. And the more it grows, again, as silly as it is to say, the more I could be doing cool adventures like this and bringing you guys along. So again, appreciate the support, and wherever you find yourself, be it in the beautiful gem state of Idaho or in your backyard, I sure hope you keep those feet in the water. And until next time, tight lines.